I am back. You are comfortably zoned. Zig in the Zone, as a matter of fact, from Alameda, California. I am coming to you um, with three folks, three of us, who are remote today. Pauly, the producer, how are you?
Very well. Thank you, Zig. Appreciate it. Good to see you, buddy.
You're in the Valley. I'm in Alameda. And from San Francisco, welcome back to the airwaves for the second, third, maybe the fourth time. Eric Gray, how are you?
I'm fine, Ralph. Thanks. How are you doing?
Good. Can't complain at all. It doesn't do any good. No one listens. So let's just get on with life. Um, Eric, first off, you are a Met fan with giant ties too. As a matter of fact, your giant ties are more intense than mine. And I was a New York Giant fan growing up.
All right. Well, that was interesting. I've never had that happen. I'm going to take over until I can bring them back in. All right. I've never had it crash out like that. And we're still streaming. So has to do with their connection. I'm going to start the call again. That was interesting.
We have the same philosophy. We'll root
By the
for.
way, we lost connections with you guys for some reason in the middle of your question there, Zig. So start over again. I took over the podcast because we were still streaming, but there you go.
Okay, start from the beginning.
Well, I'll start from the beginning of your question. You started, I think you basically said that Eric is back with us for the millionth time or the eighth time.
Yeah, right. Okay. Eric, welcome back. Eric Gray, nice to have you 2 or 3 times. And we always enjoy your company.
And I always enjoy being on your show with you, Ralph.
Good. Thank God, because somebody does. We had to have somebody enjoy this. A year and a half of doing this, Paulie, it's been great. And I promised at the beginning that I would bring the guests who are interesting and passionate. And Eric has many interests and many passions. Let's start with the music for a change. Um, you're writing a book, another book. You've got 2 baseball books under your belt, and you're writing a music book. Tell me how that's going.
Well, it's going pretty well. For those of you who don't know me, I'm writing a book about people's music and concert memories, and the stories could be about seeing a great concert, seeing your first concert, seeing a horrible concert, something that happened at the show, maybe falling in love at a concert, maybe it's meeting. It doesn't even have to be about concerts. It could be meeting a star or meeting somebody, a musician that nobody else knows, but that you really like. It could be about being a roadie. It could be about why you like a particular artist or song, or why a lyric speaks to you. Anything to do with music or concerts. And I'm kind of in the final stages of collecting stories. I've got many hundreds of stories that I'm going to have to choose from and narrow down, I'm sure. But now comes the hard but fun part, which is deciding which stories I can fit into the book and how to chapter it and all that.
Right. Sometimes you second guess yourself with stuff. I know I did writing my book with George Grimm, and but not often if you do it right.
Well, I kind of did with the baseball books, but I also knew that I had a second chance at it. And before the first book was done, I already knew there'd be a second. So, I had fewer regrets than I might have.
Good move on that part. There's a book coming, second book coming from me as well, Loving Baseball when we were 12 and innocent. And I'm very excited about that. I've got about 70 interviews, um, podcast interviews with that subject in mind, with a varied amount of human beings. It's been players, coaches, managers, um, just sports writers, authors. It's been a great experience just doing it. And I'm in the final stages as well. I could use a good editor when you're done with your project. Anyway, let's talk about the Mets playing the Giants and how that was. Started to say that you're an East Coast guy like myself. Giants moved out west. You continued to follow them, but like myself, you became a Met fan. But no Giant fan, Gent fan, can ever divorce themselves of their first love in baseball. And, you may add other loves. I'm digging the Yankees and their history. Um, Remembering that they were the team in town when I was a kid, the only team left. Um, they left, Giants left in 57. And I got to see some great ball as you did with the Yankees. Um, Tell me about some of your Yankee fandom experience,
Yeah,
Eric.
well, like you, I started following baseball probably the very late 50s, early 60s. Um, and the Yankees were, in fact, the only game in town. And, the way I always describe it is when you're a kid who likes baseball and you have Mickey Mantle running around center field and hitting home runs, what more could you possibly want? And anybody that grew up,
Yogi Berra. You throw in Yogi Berra, and my God,
yeah, I mean,
um,
it's like a
one
kid.
one
Yeah,
Ford.
yeah. There's a whole slew of them, for sure.
Yeah,
I was a Mantle fan. I loved guys. I loved them all, but the ones I particularly liked were, believe it or not, Clete Boyer and Hector Lopez and Tommy Tresh and Jim Bouton and Mel Stottlemyre. So it's hard to make the claim that that when Mickey Mantle's your favorite player, that you tend to go for the lesser known players. But for the most part, I did. Um, I was at the game when they retired Mickey Mantle's number, and that story is in my second book. But because I'm from Long Island, when the Mets came around, I became a Mets fan, and I liked both of those teams because I don't think that you have to like only one team in your area. They're different leagues. I mean, I just like them both. I started disliking the Yankees after Steinbrenner changed baseball, um, but it wasn't because I was a Mets fan. And I left New York when I was 21. I've been here for 50 years, and at some point, my kids, when I took them to their first baseball game, which just totally, changed their lives, right? They became both huge baseball fans. And in 2000, when the Mets and the Giants were playing each other in the playoffs, my daughter said, "Okay, old man, what's it going to be? The light side or the dark side?" So I don't exactly remember how I answered. And I'm just going to say to this day, I'm a fan of both teams, a big fan of both teams.
and I can tell by the shirt you wear. Hold the camera down a little bit and let's see. Oh, wow. All right. Um, they inspire um, goosebumps when I see their logo for some reason or another. And
I mean, you mentioned before your first love, and my first love was the Yankees, but they're so in the rear view window for me. I mean, it was the Mets. And to this day, I mean, you mentioned that I was at the game the other day, and to this day, when I watch the Mets and Giants play, I will root, however you define this, for the team that needs it most. Now, on Sunday, it was probably the Giants that needed it most because the Mets are somewhat safely in playoff contention. The Giants really need it. I wanted the Giants to win on Sunday, but have Pete Alonso hit 2 home runs. That was my goal. I got neither.
okay, let me ask you this: a Giant question. You follow them much more closely than I do these days. I'm curious about Will Devers. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Ever pan out? And not that it's been an eternity, but expected more.
It's hard to imagine that, and I think it's pronounced Devers because I was calling it Devers and I've been corrected. It's hard to imagine that Devers is not going to pan out. I mean, it's a change of leagues for what that's worth. It's a change of stadium. And remember, you play in Boston, it's hot summers, and here they're cold summers. I don't have a sense of why that would affect a ball player, but I'm not a ball player. He's seen new pitchers more regularly than he did before because in interleague, you see each team 2 or 3 games a year, and that's it. It would be hard for me to imagine he's not going to pan out. Where he plays, that's a big question. I mean, they put him at first base for a couple of games. He's done some really nice things at first. Saturday night was just a disaster. I mean, I watched that game on TV, and he just screwed up play after play. So, they're not going to play him at third. They got a guy named Chapman for that. So it's a question of first base or a designated hitter. And, I mean, fortunately, that's not my job to decide.
Well, Will Clark is an ambassador to the Giants and works as a coach and does a lot of things. And he promised he'd get a hold of him and make him into a first baseman. So,
well, what happened on that is evidently Devers did not meet with Clark that first series back, and it was against the Red Sox. So what I have heard, I don't know how accurate it is, that Devers didn't want to come out on the field and do all that batting practice, fielding practice stuff while the Red Sox were in town. Because as you remember, one of the things that helped spoil his stay in Boston is after they moved him to DH, which he did not want, then they wanted him to play first base when their first baseman went down. So that led to really bad feelings, which led to the trade. So I'm guessing hopefully he'll start working with Clark now that the Red Sox are gone from the series.
Nothing but mediocre news on the Giant front. But let me tell you something. All the ballparks I've been to in my lifetime, Oracle Park is the most beautiful park inside and outside. Not just beautiful on the inside, but the view you get from, you walk around the stadium and the view of the Bay Area one gets is par excellence.
Hey, there's something I can comment on because I've actually been to that park multiple times. You're right. It's a gem. It's a beautiful little gem right here in our bay. I did see something that I thought was interesting the other day, which was yesterday. I finally got to see the stadium for the Raiders in Vegas. And they did a video tour of the thing. And I didn't know that every game they actually have the grass roll in. It rolls in like on this big, huge platform that's motorized.
Huh.
and they literally
Is
grow
this the
because they can't
film
grow
of
because
what
it's
it's
real.
going to
Hold on,
be?
because it's real grass, it's real turf, it's real grass, but their stadium's inside. And so I guess they haven't perfected growing real grass inside yet. So they grow the grass outside, and for the games they like literally use like a remote control system that rolls it in on this big platform.
Well,
Whoa. Well,
The
you know, I'm
entire
looking to
gridiron is on a platform that gets rolled in.
Wow.
So, but you're right. Our park is beautiful. It's still state of the art. It's beautiful. The locale, the weather, of course, the team, duh, and then even the food. Even the food is delicious. And so, yeah, winner, pollo dinner, something like that.
What's your favorite park of all time? Both of you. How about you? Start with you, Eric.
I don't know. I guess at this point I'd have to say Oracle Park. I mean, I'm there 15 times a year at least. It's been so much of a factor in my family, with my family, and how baseball has always connected us. The great memories we've been to, very, very specific memories for us collectively and individually. My daughter runs a press elevator there, and literally everybody in the park knows her. So I would probably have to say it's that. And honestly, who would disagree with what a beautiful park it is? The only park that I've heard many people say they might prefer is PNC, the Pirates' home.
Right. Paulie, you have any memories of the Stick or the Oakland Coliseum?
You're stealing my thunder. That's exactly where I was going. It had to be memories, right? Because
of course,
this is the house where memories were built, was the Stick. And so
and
for me,
this is the show where memories live.
Yes, they do. They don't go to die. They don't
No.
go to die.
Just the host.
So you're absolutely correct. My memories are with the Stick, and it's probably just because of those memories and growing up. I went to a lot of Oakland Coliseum games also, but that was it wasn't as well maintained. There are some memories back in the 70s because I was around, during their heyday in the 70s. So there's some memories there, but I don't have a lot of ballparks. I would love, that would be a great thing. So if I won a drawing or won like the World Series contest or whatever, what I would like to do is be able to see a baseball game in every park, right? And then end the season at the World Series. Wouldn't that be like that? Wouldn't that be like the greatest? That would be the ultimate, right, for baseball fans.
Actually, the ultimate for baseball fans is Eric reading from his book. Yeah, I'd like to get to that, but Paulie, do some business for us to keep the station alive, to keep the old wandering Jew alive, and we'll do that and then get to Eric, and he will do some book reading. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Paulie? There you go.
Speaking of books, we talk about the Head Start program. Don't forget that Zig says, round up them books at home. You've got them. Bring them to your local Head Start program. Help those kids do what they need to do. I would say go to their website and give money there, but you know where that's going, right to the government. So go right to the source. Get those books. Bring them to your local Head Start program. Kids can always use it. Now, make sure to go like, subscribe, and everything else for Zig on all his channels. Like, subscribe, and ring the little bell so you know when we go live. And then we're doing a commercial break after he reads some, correct?
That'd be great.
All right, so we're
Without further ado.
Without
Eric?
further ado, there we go.
Eric Ray.
All right.
Thanks, Ralph and Paul. For anybody that's watching this podcast that doesn't know, I've collected two volumes of baseball stories, people's personal baseball memories. The first one is called Bases to Bleachers, and the second is Backyards to Ballparks. I'm going to read some stories from each one. And Ralph, again, I'm going to, when you're ready for me to be done, give me the nod and I'll do one more story. Okay.
Same holds true with me. When you're ready for me to be done, just call the Undertaker. But
well,
that
got dark very quickly. So
I'm a silly man.
So I'm going to start with this first story, and it's from a friend of mine who worked in Job Corps. My professional career was working for Department of Labor, overseeing Job Corps programs. And I caught up with this friend of mine in Minnesota, and this story was really important because it helped me shape my books. And I realized that when she sent me this story, I realized that I had to make the structure of my book fit my content, not ram my content into some predetermined structure. I originally thought that, the stories had to be at a ball game. I got the story, and that completely made me rethink the whole process. So this is Sarah's story. I'm not a fan of any sports. I've been to a few baseball games, but only when I get free tickets and go for the experience of drinking beer, eating stadium food, and having a good time with friends. It's not that I don't like baseball. I just don't know much about the game, the players, or the rules. I was in Chicago for a Job Corps conference, meeting my friend Pearl in the bar of the hotel where I was staying. When I got to the bar in the late afternoon, there were just a few people there, but not Pearl. An older gentleman was sitting alone at the bar, and I thought it would be safe to sit next to him. I preferred not to sit alone. I asked if I could join him while waiting for my friend. We had a few drinks, chatted about life, my job, the fact that I enjoyed working with young adults, and I was excited to see my friend who I hadn't seen in quite a while. I was glad that I felt comfortable with him, but he shared very little about himself. When Pearl showed up, I turned to the man and said it was nice to meet him, although we didn't know each other's names. I introduced myself, and he said, "Nice to meet you, Sarah. My name is Ernie Banks." We shook hands, and I went to sit with my friend. My friend, a native Chicagoan, asked who I was talking to, and when I told her, she started to shake a little bit and asked me if I knew who Ernie Banks was. I said, "Well, yes, he's the man at the bar." Pearl yelled, "That's Ernie Banks. That's Mr. Cub. You've got to ask him for his autograph. He's the most famous Cub player ever." I wandered back over and said, "Mr. Banks, my friend over there tells me I need to get your autograph. You're Mr. Cub? You must have been one great basketball player." Well, that made him laugh, of course, and he said it was great to be in Chicago having a casual conversation with someone who had no idea who he was. And by the way, he played baseball with the Cubs, not basketball. He gave me his autograph. We chatted for a little while longer, and that's the gist of the story. And about a year after the book came out, Sarah sent me a scanned copy of the autograph that she had found. It was too late for it to go in the book, but what a great memory.
Wow. Great story.
This is from a chapter that's called The Negro Leagues. And a friend of mine, someone I've gotten to know through the book, his name is Frank White. He did an interview with a couple of former Negro Leaguers, as well as his father. This is the story. I'll just say in advance, this is a story from Buck O'Neill. Buck did not give it to me directly, but it was given to me by Frank. This is Buck's story. I'm often asked about my greatest game or day. That's an easy one for me. It took place on opening day, 1943, Memphis, Easter Sunday. In my first at bat, I hit a double, and I followed that with a single. On my third time up, I hit the ball over the left field fence. On my next at bat, I hit the ball to deep left center. It looked like it was going out, but I kept thinking, hit the fence. The ball did bounce off the fence and between the left and center fielders. As I pulled into third base, the coach was waving me around for an inside the park home run, but I stopped. I wanted to get that cycle. That night, relaxing in my room, the team's publicist called me down to the restaurant to meet some folks. The owner's daughter was a school teacher. I walked up to her and I said, "Hello, my name is Buck O'Neill. We were married for 51 years. That's my favorite day, hitting for the cycle and meeting my wife."
Wow.
Just a wonderful
Wow.
story.
Hey, let me interrupt one thing that I admire most about your experiences with the books. You go around, you have a little tour of the country, and you visit your friends, and they set up book signings or not signings, readings, and what have you, and you meet the people. You get an idea that it just isn't typing. It's it's personal interaction.
It seems,
And
and it seems like, just to jump in, I know where you're kind of going, or at least I kind of feel I know where you're at. Me and Zig known each other so long, we complete each other's sandwiches. So at this point, no, it's true. Even your stories that you convey in your books, they're all kind of from lore. It's from you talking with others and communication and sharing these stories, and you're like, oh, which, even brings me back to, you've asked me to be a contributor. You're like, you've got some music stories, you've got some rock stories, so you're always, it's a big thing about talking to people, communicating with people, sharing those stories, and then paying it forward to the next generation, right? Isn't that what we're doing? We're preserving it. It's a legacy piece.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The greatest and absolutely most unexpected, I won't say consequence, benefit. The wonderful thing about this is the friendships that I've made. And many close ones. Ralph, you know some of the people. You and I obviously are friends because of this. I never expected to make friendships, and I'm not going to read this story, but Lynn and I were at a ball game in Milwaukee, and there was a guy behind me, and I was telling him about the book. He sent me an incredible story about taking his kids to their first game. It's just an amazing story, and we stayed in touch. We became Facebook friends, and he said to me, "How do you know this guy Harry?" Well, I had made a post, and Harry commented on it, and I said, "Well, he's my wife's cousin's kid. How do you know him?" He said, "My son married his niece." And so we're family with this guy. And to say that he and his wife are close friends of me and Lynn would be an understatement. I mean, it's just been remarkable. So, yeah. And, Paul, what you just said is one of the things. Ralph, do you know John Leonidakis?
I certainly do. And so does Paul.
Yeah.
We had him on and had him on several times. He introduced me on the air to Arnold Hano, who wrote A Day in the Bleachers.
Yeah.
And I have a great podcast with the two of them. Yes. And so the extension of who knows whom in baseball amazes me. It gives me goosebumps again.
Yeah. Well, Paul, to go back to your comment. So John, for people who don't know, is a baseball historian. And John has a story in each of my books, but he also wrote a piece, a testimonial for my book. And what he says is Eric's books connect the generations. We're part of a renaissance of keep making the stories that are passed down from generation to generation. So, that was your point, Paul. And what my wife always says when I always say, look, I don't get that much credit for this. I didn't write the stories. I've got 4 in each book. out of hundreds. And she said, yeah, but what you're doing is you're having people tell the stories that perhaps nobody else would ever hear, if not for in your book. So, I'm very proud of that. And Ralph, the next story I read is an example of someone that not only I, but you became good friends with. And he just recently passed away, and it's Rick Lenneberg. And I want to read his story. This is from my second book. He has a story in each book as well. And I spoke to Rick just a couple of weeks before he passed away, and he was doing better. And it was just a shock when I found out.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. On June 4th, 1968, Don Drysdale beat the Pirates 5-0, allowing 3 hits. The victory was Big D's 6th straight shutout, giving him 54 consecutive scoreless innings, both new major league records. His scoreless streak reached 58 2/3 innings on June 8th. It was tough for Dodgers fans when he retired just over a year later on August 11th, 1969. I was at Dodger Stadium when his retirement was announced. The crowd became absolutely silent for 10 seconds and then erupted in a 2-minute standing ovation for Big D. Is one of the most memorable Major League game moments of my life. As a side note, on the night of that same June 1968 day, Robert Kennedy was assassinated. When Drysdale died suddenly, among his personal effects was a cassette tape of Senator Kennedy's speech that night, which opened with, "I'd like to express my high regard for Don Drysdale, who pitched his 6th straight shutout tonight." Apparently, Drysdale was so moved by that and what happened moments later that he kept the cassette tape with him wherever he went. I can only imagine that once in a while he would listen to it, reflecting on how fragile life is. So that's a tribute to our mutual friend, Rick Lenneberg.
Rick was special, and we share his friendship.
And it happened again, so I'm going to refresh the screen, guys. Sorry about this. Don't know why it's doing that to us. That's second time. I'm going to start this call.
275 stories in the first book and 325 in the second. And I have 4 in each. So, when I talk about these books, it's not like how wonderful I am. It's how fortunate I was that so many people trusted me with intimate memories. But this is one of my stories. And there was a chapter in the first book that was called What Baseball Means to Me. That was such a core chapter that I knew I was going to repeat that chapter in the second book. All different stories and a different title. In this book, the chapter is called My Player, My Team, My Game. After 50 years attending hundreds of ball games, I had never seen a no-hitter. I wasn't there on June 13, 2012, when Matt Cain stepped onto the AT&T mound, but I was watching on TV. My wife, Lynn, and I watched the whole thing, and our daughter, Rachel, was working at the park as usual for home games. As our collective favorite player, Matt Cain, was tossing more and more zeros, 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 errors, 0 walks, the tension and anxiety began to rise in our household. From 3,000 miles away, 4-way texts began with our son, David, who knew he should be going to sleep, but could not pass on the chance to watch history be made. Gregor Blanco's catch in the 7th was the first breathtaking moment. For the last play, a tough hop to Joaquin Arias, who had replaced Panda for defensive purposes. It made him step backward, taking away momentum toward first. Still, the play was made. Cain pumped his fist, and then came a phone call, a brief one at 1 o'clock in the morning from David. This was history, just a 22nd perfect game ever. It was our favorite player who had accomplished this feat, and it was obvious that once again, this magical game of baseball had connected the 4 of us, from our home in San Francisco, to the press elevator in the park, to an apartment in D.C., to the pitcher's mound. 5 years later, Lynn and I got tickets for the last game of the season. Lynn likes this game, Fan Appreciation Day, at which prizes are given away like water to racers in a marathon, and players throw balls into the stands after the game. But I went that day because I knew it would be the last game Matt Cain would ever pitch. Several years of ineffectiveness, caused in part by the injuries that suddenly plagued this once impervious horse, resulted in his decision at the young age of 33 to hang him up rather than keep pushing to regain a past magic. We knew we'd get to start one last time after half a season doing bullpen mop-up work. He did, and he was magnificent, reaching back and pitching like the Matt Cain of old. And fittingly, befitting the term coined from his name, he got caned, receiving no run support. He pitched 5 innings, the last reputedly on adrenaline and fumes, and took the loss. Still our guy, I thought, as today I watched the ceremonies inducting him onto the Giants Wall of Fame. And it still makes me teary when I read the story. He will be my last ever favorite player.
Wow. Beautiful. Hey, thank you for your stories, man. Thank you for accumulating the stories that you did and adding your personal touch to it today. You made for a great podcast. Let me give you a break and me a break and have Pauly do the business that needs to be done.
All right, thanks for handing it back over to me, Zig. I'm going to mute you guys out. All right, so here we go. I can walk and chew gum, and even, look, we're live. Isn't that crazy? All right, we're going to play those spots that pay the bills. We'll be back right after this. Whether it's criminal defense, estate planning, or civil litigation, the answer is the law offices of Andrew Doja. Call us today at 510-865-1600 or find us on the web at dojalaw.com.
For tenant and landlord disputes, there's no other than the law office of Jeff Canberra. Call now 1-510-865-7369 and don't forget to tell them Zig sent you.
Please make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that little bell. Here's all the streaming platforms. We got YouTube, Facebook. Go check out everything that Ralphie does on Instagram. And we also have a feed on Twitch. So go do that. Let us know. And we are back, Ziggy.
Hey, let's close it out with Eric's thoughts.
Okay, I'm sorry. You were saying let's close it out with Eric's thoughts.
Yes.
Okay, we on, Paul? Yeah, I just, thanks as always, Ralph, for giving me the opportunity to tell a couple of these stories. What I would like to tell anybody watching this podcast, if you have either a baseball memory or a music memory, please send it to me. My email address is Eric, ERIC, .baseball stories, plural. So it's one word, baseball stories @gmail.com. Or you can send it to me at eric.concertstories@gmail.com. If anybody wants my books, they're available online, or you can get them from me, a signed copy from me. And again, you can contact me at those email addresses. You can find me, you can make a comment when this is posted with Ralph. You can find me on Facebook, send me a messenger, any of those ways.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I found you. These people are much more intelligent than me. They'll find you.
And
Okay.
Ralph, so many of the stories in this book are from people that you know, and that many in the baseball community know. That, as you mentioned before, it's big, but it's a small community. People know each other.
It is a small community, but it has tentacles.
Right.
And the story that illustrates that is that baseball had nothing to do with that woman, Sarah, meeting Ernie Banks. She didn't even know who the hell he was.
Right.
And it was a great story, as were all of yours. Thank you for being here. Pauly, before we go, tell us a little bit about what's going on at your studio. San Francisco.
All right, Zig. This is what we're doing at Edge Studios. We're always looking for original content and creators. If you have a dream and you want to see it to come to fruition, please reach out to us at edgestudiosonline.com. And you can reach out to us by email at edgestudiosonline@gmail.com or drop us a line at 650-503-3435 and let us know how we can help you. We can help you if you're here in the Bay Area. We have spaces there. We also can help you remotely. So no matter where you reside, as long as you have some sort of device, we can help you bring your content. I'm sitting here in Central California while Zig's in the Bay Area, and so's Eric, but they're all in 3 different locations. And so you can do this from your home. You can do this from your device. That's right, you. So please reach out to us at Edge Studios Online, wherever podcasts can be seen and heard. And Ziggy, we're out.
And that sounds so simple, but you are a pro.
I've been working on it.
I am not just blowing smoke, but to do this from 3 locations, 3 different people, and we all had a good time. That's the bottom line. And
well, and even this, we're doing a remote, and the remote, we're actually over the next few weeks is going to get better and better. The feed's going to get better. We dropped out a couple times there, but things only get better as you start to, the more you create, the better the process becomes. You start off walking or crawling, then walking, and then before you know it, you're up and running. So, Zig, get us out of here like only you can, buddy. Oh, will you have your drink?
It's mocha. It's not a drink, but it's an addiction. Let me tell you. Mocha Frappe Anonymous. I can see it now. They be good. That's my commercial for them. I'll take us out with a word of thank you to both of you. How about that?
Thanks, guys.
Okay, and me, you guys, this was special for me today.
Absolutely, and me too. Eric, always a pleasure to see and or hear you, even if it's virtually, sir.
And as well for me. It's we're basically having a little 3-way love fest here.
Well,
best kept remote. Right.
Be still my heart.
All right, guys, we're getting out of here. To the rest of you zoners, stay in the zone. We'll see you next week here. See ya. They're hearing your clothing.